As we discussed on the show yesterday, Twitter CEO Elon Musk reportedly caved to pressure from the Indian government to remove the BBC documentary critical of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which the Indian government denounced as hostile propaganda and anti-India garbage.
One Twitter user tweeted, "What's going on, Elon Musk? Twitter seems to have gone from freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, to outright censorship in no time at all. Hashtag politics ruins everything." To which Musk responded, "First, I've heard. It is not possible for me to fix every aspect of Twitter worldwide overnight while still running Tesla and SpaceX, among other things."
I mean, that's obviously true. I mean, you can't expect him to see every decision that's been made at the app. But on some level, he's kind of brought this kind of criticism on himself by inserting himself so publicly into the decision-making process for high-profile Twitter users. So when he is openly saying, "I'm making decisions about whether or not Alex Jones can stay on the app based on my personal tragedy and experience with a lost child, and Alex Jones being kicked off because of the Sandy Hook massacre lies," we do expect then to turn to Elon Musk, the man, as the person from whom all of these decisions are coming from.
Yeah, I completely understand why people treat Elon Musk as if everything that happens at Twitter, he has his direct hand in. He has encouraged that impression by responding to people, making requests of Twitter.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Constantly. So I 100% get why people think that. That is an impression he's given. That said, that is extremely plausible to me, him having no idea about this being signed off on by someone else, because, as I said when we discussed this earlier, it is routine behavior, for better or for worse, for social media companies or tech companies to unfortunately do what repressive governments want in order to stay active in those countries. This has been true. This has characterized Google's relationship with China, and it happens over and over again. And look, it is a bad thing. It is bad that authoritarian governments make these requests of social media, in the same way that I am very against a lot of requests that have been made by our own government of tech companies.
Sure.
And I don't think you can entirely necessarily blame the tech executives if the alternative is that company can't operate in that country at all.
Sure.
That is a decision to weigh very carefully, whether it is better to have a limited and censored version of the platform in the country or no version at all.
Okay, but now that I'm thinking about this, let's interrogate this Elon must not have known a little bit further. We're in the middle of a Twitter Files journalistic extravaganza where he is granting unprecedented transparency into the goings-on of this company. And one of the key arguments that is being made is that previous owners of Twitter have been susceptible to pressure campaigns from the government, from the press, from some unholy union of the government and the press, etc. That being the case, and such a public focus of everything that's going on in the media right now and the criticism of Elon Musk and the app, a request comes in from one of the most populous, powerful, biggest landmass nations on the planet to censor a BBC documentary, again, a documentary from a Western ally like UK. And we don't think that that wasn't flagged and run by, if not Elon Musk, then someone very senior before a decision was made.
What we've learned is that the previous CEO of Twitter had very little input in these decisions.
Right, but Elon Musk, his whole brand is that he's not the previous CEO of Twitter.
Well, again, you can criticize him and you can say he should have been aware of this and not done this, but he's saying he didn't know this would happen, which maybe suggests he wouldn't have done this, or we'll reverse it. Glenn Greenwald, by the way, has responded to this whole ordeal, tweeting, quote, and I thought this was very perceptive, "The ability of India to force Twitter and YouTube to ban a documentary upon threat of blocking the platform from the country is a huge threat, but it's happening everywhere. Rumble is blocked in France because it refuses to censor RT. Brazil is about to block Telegram." And, Glenn goes on to say that it would take a united front from all of the tech companies to say we're not going to do this kind of thing. But then you get China is totally going to not blink. They'll say, okay, then you can't operate here.
Yeah.
And look, I think it's worth having a discussion about whether that's what we want or not, because I think there are good arguments on both sides. I think there is an argument for don't negotiate with terrorists, don't negotiate with repressive governments. If they say they want this, you say, no, sorry. And then you deprive them of that, and then hopefully, the people get mad and they demand that the repressive government stop being so repressive and ease back those demands. That's one theory of social change. Another would be is you go along with it, you give the country some access, the people have that access, and then because the censorship isn't perfect, they are still able to use the platforms to get around it and look at certain things and learn more. That's hard.
It's for sure a tough decision. But look, you said a little bit earlier that Elon Musk is, obviously distinguishing himself from previous ownership, and perhaps his response to that tweet indicates that he would have done things differently if given the chance, and certainly differently than previous ownership. One interesting wrinkle in this story is that Ken Klippenstein posted the Intercept article about Elon Musk caving to pressure to suppress his BBC doc, and apparently previous owner of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, liked Ken Klippenstein's tweet. The implication being that he also sees some problem with Elon Musk's behavior here, that perhaps Jack is frustrated with being the one that's, presented with, his regime at least is being presented as the one where all the bad things happen and all the censorship happen, and Elon Musk is the kind of the good guy that's bringing light to the darkness. I mean, what do you take from the idea that Jack would have liked a tweet like this, an article criticizing Elon Musk's free speech consistency on the app?
Well, I'm sure he doesn't like that this demand was complied with, just as I don't like it either. Just I don't like when any of these demands are complied with. But he should know better, and likely does, that this ends up being very difficult in the real world.
So you think that Jack liking the tweet is just saying, oh, I'm solidary with Elon, and it's hard out there for a pimp.
No. He's expressed frustration with Elon at various points. He stuck up for Yoel Roth, that content moderator, I think probably correctly, as we then came to learn more about how decisions were made vis-a-vis subsequent Twitter Files releases. I as well changed my thinking and started to blame more the pressure was so heavy, was so unbelievable and insurmountable. I very much understand why they eventually were worn down and thought they had to go along with it. Look, these are really difficult. It's difficult questions. It's not easy. You shouldn't pretend it's easy. You can't just say, no, we're not going to do this. Well, then there's no Twitter in India.
You shouldn't pretend it's easy, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact
Twitter will only operate in like Switzerland or so, whatever the least obtrusive government is.
Sure, I don't want to pretend it's easy, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that the reason that it is being presented as an easy decision is because Elon Musk himself kind of white knighted this and swooped in and said, hey, I'm going to take over Twitter and solve all these problems. And all I'm going to do, I'm just going to let people back on the site. The problem was freedom. I'm going to give freedom. Comedy is free now. We can do all these things. And immediately he started running into the real substantive issues that everyone has had to deal with. He says comedy is allowed on the app again. Okay, he immediately had to reverse his policy that allowed everybody to change their handles and impersonate other people, including Elon Musk. He says you can tweet whatever you want. Okay, but not if you're tweeting about the location of my private jet. Okay, you can come back on the app, my friends, or maybe they're not his friends, I don't know, people that he has these relationships with, like Kanye West. Oh, but now you have to go back off the app, and not necessarily because you violated the terms, but because it's awkward that I've been defending you and you just posted a weird swastika Star of David hybrid. He put himself in the position of saying, hey, I'm the Superman who's going to save this app, and has been dealing with nothing but crisis after crisis after crisis. So to the extent that people are asking him to come up with easy, bold solutions to difficult problems, I do think he has to take a look in the mirror.
That's true. It's very complicated. It's even more complicated than Elon Musk might have thought it was at the start of this takeover. I totally agree with that. And because it's important for him to run those other companies as well, should maybe put a CEO in charge.
Yeah, what happened to that? He said he was going to step down.
I guess we're still
voted.
Waiting.
There was a poll.
I haven't gotten the call yet. I don't know about you.
I don't want the job
I don't think we have time for an
unless the salary
job.
Is somewhere close to that $44 billion.
Oh, you're gonna poach Brianna from my show. Don't do it. Don't do it. That wraps us up for this week. Tomorrow you can catch the Best of Rising, where we air all of the week's highlights. We had some real good ones this week.
Yeah, it was a solid week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. I had someone tweet at me the other day, I wish this were a podcast. And I said, guess what, King? It is. Good news. So be sure to check that out. We're also available on Roku and other streaming services, so catch us there as well.
Good news to all you kings out there. Take care.
Right. Take care.